ilẹ̀ wa sunkún lábẹ́ ìrìn. Àwọn bàbá wa ń wò wá lókè, wọ́n filẹ̀ yìí sí ọwọ́ wa, ṣùgbọ́n a gbàgbé ohun tí wọ́n ń sọ. À ń jagun ara wa lójú ọ̀nà, à ń ta ìtàn wa lọ́wọ́. Bí a kò bá rántí ibi tá a ti ń bọ̀, báwo la ṣe máa mọ ibi tá a ń lọ? Ẹ̀jẹ̀ àwọn bàbá ṣì ń pè wá nínú afẹ́fẹ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ohùn ilẹ̀ ń ké pé má ṣe gbàgbé ẹni tí ó jẹ́. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a gbé ilẹ̀ wa ga. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a pa ìtàn wa kọ́. Òrìṣà ilẹ̀ ń wò wá lọ́dọọdún, àwọn bàbá ń dúró dè wá. Ilẹ̀ tí a jogún kì í ṣe títà, ìran tí ń bọ̀ wá. Ọmọ Yorùbá jí kúrò nínú oòrùn, àkókò ti dé báyìí. Tí a bá fẹ́ ọjọ́ ọ̀la rere, a gbọ́dọ̀ rántí ara wa. Ilẹ̀ ìsọ̀rọ̀ nínú wàhálà wa, ìran wa ń pè wá padà. Ohùn nínú ké pé má ṣe gbàgbé ìtàn rẹ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a gbé ilẹ̀ wa ga. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a pa ìdá wa mọ̀. Kí a bá ti lọ́kọ̀, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yóò tún rọ̀. Ohùn bàbá ń ké lọ́run, ẹ má ṣe gbàgbé ara yìí. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan. Ilẹ̀ wa sunkún lábẹ́ ìrìn. Àwọn bàbá wa ń wò wá lókè, wọ́n filẹ̀ yìí sí ọwọ́ wa, ṣùgbọ́n a gbàgbé ohun tí wọ́n ń sọ. À ń jagun ara wa lójú ọ̀nà, à ń ta ìtàn wa lọ́wọ́. ṣe máa mọ ibi tá a lọ. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ àwọn bàbá ṣì ń pè wá nínú afẹ́fẹ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ohùn ilẹ̀ ń ké pé má ṣe gbàgbé ẹni tí ó jẹ́. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a gbé ilẹ̀ wa ga. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a pa ìtàn wa kọ́. Òrìṣà ilé ń wọ́n wá lọ́dọọdún. Àwọn bàbá ń dúró dè wá. Ilẹ̀ tí a jogún kì í ṣe títà. Ìrántí ń bọ̀ wá. Ọmọ Yorùbá jí kúrò nínú oòrùn. Àkókò ti dé báyìí. Tí a bá fẹ́ ọjọ́ ọ̀la rere, a gbọ́dọ̀ rántí ara wa. Ilẹ̀ ìsọ̀rọ̀ nínú wàhálà wa, ìran wa ń pè wá padà. Ohùn nínú kébé, má ṣe gbàgbé ìtàn rẹ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a gbé ilé wa ga. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a pa ìdá wa mọ̀. Kí a bá ti lọ́kọ̀, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yóò tún rọ̀. Ohùn bàbá ń ké lọ́run. Ẹ má ṣe gbàgbé ara yín. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan.
Ẹ kálẹ́ níbi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ wa ní jákèjádò ilẹ̀ káàárọ̀-o-jíire àti níbi gbogbo tí ẹ ti ń wò wá káàkiri àgbáyé. You are all welcome to tonight's Yoruba Ronu series on the world stage. And my name is Biodun Bakari. I will be the host tonight. I have with me here Madam Majoke Ade, one of my co-hosts. And I also have with me Mr. Olu Oguntimei, a barrister. He's also on the stage with us. Madam Majoke, can you say good evening to our viewers and our listeners?
Ẹ káalẹ́ gbogbo ilé o, a kí yín o, ẹ káàbọ̀ o, ẹ kú gbogbo ìgbà wa o. Tí kò bá sí ẹ̀yin kò sí TYF. Thank you so much. Ẹ ṣé gan, ẹ káàbọ̀.
Thank you, ma. Thank you very much. And here's Barrister Olu Oguntimei.
Ẹ káalẹ́ o gbogbo ilé, mo kí yín o. Inú mi dùn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ láti lè wà pẹ̀lú yín ní àṣálẹ́ yìí. Èní ní ọjọ́ àkọ́kọ́ tí mo máa darapọ̀ láti lè gbé eh, láti lè darapọ̀ through this channel. Of course, mo máa wà on the floor and then I'm at the back end, supporting the team. So it's indeed a privilege to be here. It's an opportunity. Ẹ ṣé gan gbogbo ẹ̀yin aráalé. Thanks for your time. Thanks for all your support. Inú wa dùn lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Ẹ kú àdúrótì fún ìfẹ́ yín fún orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni Agbẹjọ́rò, thank you very much. And this is Madam Ajoke from our office in Lagos. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá wa ṣe hello sáwọn aráalé o, kán lè gbóhùn yín o. Even though the video is not up, but iná ló fẹ́ ṣẹ́jú. Madam Ajoke, are you there? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Ekale Guguleo. Thank you for always joining us as usual. We are very happy to be here.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni, thank you very much, ma. And to all of us who are listening, tonight, TYF and our program has always been, we move across the board. We talk about politics, we talk about nationality, we talk about nationalism, we talk about everything. Tonight, we're just going to step a little bit beyond, local conversations and enter the arena of global power politics, where decisions made thousands of miles away can shape our economies, our security, and the future of our nation, Nigeria and Yorubaland. Our focus tonight, as you've seen from your screen, is Iran, oil, and power politics. Oil is not just a resource, it is influence, it is a leverage, it is power. Across history, nations that control energy have shaped global decisions. And at the center of today's geopolitical tensions sits a country called Iran, a country whose oil reserves, strategic location, and control over critical energy routes make it one of the most consequential players in the global system. Consider this: nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through a narrow corridor known as the Strait of Hormuz, a route that Iran alone can influence or disrupt. When that flow is threatened, the entire world feels it. From rising fuel prices to economic stability, this is the reality of energy politics. Resources shape power, geography shapes strategy, and control shapes global order. But tonight we're going to ask a deeper question. What does this mean for emerging regions like West Africa? What lessons should Yoruba land take from a world where resources often determine sovereignty and influence? Is it enough to have resources, or must there be a strategy, structure, and control? We have tonight with us the president of TY, Mr. Oladimiji Bolaniwa. He's going to split all this into pieces. He's going to explain to us and help us to understand how Iran becomes so powerful when it comes to this issue of energy control in the world. And tonight, as we will be going on, we'll be starting something new on TYF and on this World Yoruba space that we hold. It's about asking questions. We'll throw out two questions to our people and our listeners all over the world. If you are fast enough to get us answers to these two questions, you stand the chance to win some takeaway home tonight. And I will not go deep into that for now, but I will take time to quickly introduce the president of TY, Mr. Bolaniwa Oladimeji, to speak to us and help us understand what we are to learn tonight and take home from today's event and talk and the inspirational direction that we'll take from him. Mr. Oladimeji Bolaniwa, please go ahead.
Ẹ káalẹ́ gbogbo ilé. Mo kí wa ní orúkọ Olódùmarè. I greet us all in the name of the Almighty. I greet us all in the name of the Ancient. I am happy to be here once again. I want to beg all my wonderful hosts, co-hosts, moderators, and the production crew Tebalibawa mute. If everybody people can mute their different mics because I can get feedbacks before I can start the lecture proper. Thank you so much. I greet us all in the name of Olodumare. I greet us all everywhere you're listening to me, to us. On behalf of Think Yoruba First Organization Worldwide, we are so grateful to be here. And to all the Muslim faithful who just finished fasting in the holy month of Ramadan, we want to say Eid Mubarak. It is may Almighty Allah accept our act of worship as ibadah. Tonight is going to be very, very great. Tonight is surely going to be extremely important. Um, Tonight, firstly, again, I want to thank all the executives of TYF. They are the reason why this TYF continues to move like a rolling steam for the past close to 8 to 10 years. There are many people that have been on this journey in different capacity within this organization called TYF that has evolved, metamorphosized in different ways and different means. I really, really want to thank you. May Almighty God continue to be with you. To all the members of TYF, to all the regional coordinators, continental coordinators, state coordinators from the Francophone world to the English speaking world, may Almighty God continue to be with all of you. Once again, the entire crew of Yoruba Rono, that despite everything, despite how difficult it is, every Saturday evening, we have make it a kind of a religious a duty to be here in order to be able to push this brilliant and wonderful program that must be eternal. I pray Almighty God, in as much as the world exists, this program will continue to exist. Even when many of us have gone to the ways of our ancestors, we pray that these people that are coming after us will continue this program because this program is an institution on its own that is extremely critical for us to be able to have intellectual conversation, for us to be able to know our future like the my wonderful host said, Mr. Bakari, that there's going to be a question and answer. So two people are going to be picked tonight. We are going to like people that are in Nigeria. It's just a tip. You know, it's going to be religiously. We are going to be asking geopolitical questions. So if you can quickly come on board and quickly answer the question, you can quickly get across your answer. The first correct answers are surely going to be picked. So this is going to be the our routine going forward on Yoruba Rono World Stage program. Um, Tonight we are talking about Iran, oil oil, power and politics. There's all over the world there are different crises, there are different wars that are currently going on. And this but tonight we are surely going to I started um last week on a program that we used to have on every Wednesday, which we call Nationalism Hour, where I spoke about Iran, where I tried to understand. I said from Iran, from Persia to Iran, where I spoke about the creation, the ethnogenesis of Iran. So it took me almost 1 hour plus, close to 1 hour 30 minutes of conversation to be able to do that. So, but I'm still going to summarize because when we come here, it is impossible for us to be able to give the history of Persia that is almost 1,000 or 2,000 pages. Even more than hundreds, if not thousands, of books have been written about Persia and the history of Persia. So we are not saying something new here, but I will try as much as possible to summarize the history of Persia, the history of Iran, and the geopolitical bottleneck for us to understand what is happening. If you're listening, I want to thank all our listeners on YouTube. May Almighty God continue to be with you. Please help us to like, help us to subscribe, help us to share, because this kind of conversation this kind of a stage, this kind of a forum needs to be publicized. And the if we can be able to liberate our minds, nobody will be able to defeat us. Nobody's going to help us publicize this except we do it ourselves. So, yẹn tẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ wa, a bẹ̀ yín, what I'm begging you for, just repost, just like, just retweet. This is extremely, extremely important. Please, every time you're on live, you're watching Yoruba Ronu World Stage, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on TikTok, please always retweet, always retweet, always quote, always like, ask, send it to your friends and family. In fact, you can play it. And for those listening on Twitter space, go on TYF Twitter space. May Almighty God continue to be with you. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be tonight. Is going to be wonderful. Tonight is going to be blessed. Once again, we greet you all in the name of Olodumare. I'm Oladimiji Bolarewa, the president of Think Yoruba Force Organization Worldwide. What are we discussing tonight again? We are discussing the Iran war. Currently, all over the world, there are different crises. There are different wars that are currently going on. Afghanistan and Pakistan are two Sunni Islamic countries are currently fighting. The Ukraine, Russia, one of the most bloodiest conflicts since the Second World War, is currently going on for the past 3 years. There are wars across the Sahel. There is a civil war going on between West Sudan and East Sudan. There is also war going on in East Africa. Insurgencies left, right, and center. There are different conflicts, both active, cold, and active conflicts. So symmetrical and asymmetrical conflicts. The economic situation of the world is not good enough. So these are the kind of things that the world, one way or the other, is in a state of war. I want to also say something. The reason why we've not actually have had Third World War, Fourth World War, is because the superpowers that should have gone to this war actually have uh, actually have uh, actually have nuclear weapons. So because of the presence of nuclear weapons, it has prevented these superpowers from actually going at themselves and destroying the rest of the world. So the reason why the world has officially not even gone for Fifth World War is because everybody now have weapons of mass destruction that is going to annihilate the earth, that will bring the end to all mankind if we all go to war, especially with the different multipolar world. The world has currently changed. The world has changed. When I mean the world has changed, when I mean the world has changed, the world has changed in the sense that we are currently witnessing a multipolar world. Before, we used to have a world where we have one singular power or one dual power. In the 19th century, it was called the Great Game. Now, it is not today that different world powers are always fighting, but I'm going to go back in the past 200 years. In the 19th century, the two major superpowers was the British Empire and the Russian Empire, and that war was called the Great Game. In the 20th century, so especially towards the end of the 20th century, the biggest superpowers in the world was the USSR versus the USA, and that was called the Cold War. Now, in the 21st century, many people actually believe that America was going to be the only superpower for the next 200 or 300 years, because America has successfully not only made its own currency to be the universal currency of the world, it has it has created a system where everybody is going to be at its beck and call. But for the past 10, 15 years, something has happened in the world. We not only do we have other superpowers, we now have multiple superpowers. We now also have multiple middle powers. So when I mean superpowers, when I mean because what we now have now are regional powers. What do I mean? America can no longer exert its influence in the South China Sea, because China is surely going to threaten America to leave that space. America can no longer influence, do what it likes in Eastern Europe, in the Black Sea, because Russia is there. America can no longer do what it likes in the Arctic Sea because Russia is there. So we have multiple superpowers. We have multiple superpowers. It is more than two. We now have three superpowers. So, in the real sense of it, these superpowers are regional powers. These are powers that actually dominate and control their regions in their axis. Nobody can be able to challenge them. So China controls the South China Sea. Russia controls the Arctic and the Black Sea, part of the Black Sea and some part of Eastern Europe. That is why Russia can be redrawing the map of Ukraine, and nobody, if not everybody, is just trying to sanction, everybody just trying to bully Russia. Nobody can actually say they are declaring war on Russia on behalf of Ukraine. So nobody can dare do that. And America, we saw what America did in Venezuela. We saw what America has been doing to Cuba for the past 50 years, which is they do what they like and get away with it. These are superpowers and true regional powers. And more, and they are nuclear, they have technology, and they have the manufacturing capacity to fight a forever war. So those are the criteria of being superpowers. And tonight I said we're talking about Iran. Iran is a country that is unique. It's a country that is a sleeping superpower. Iran is not just a country, it is a civilization state. For my listeners tonight, I want us to stop looking at Iran from the position of bias against Islam, because bias against Shia Islam, maybe because you're Sunni, bias against Iran because maybe you are pro-West, or you are pro-Iran because you are Islamic nationalist. I want you to see Iran as just a geopolitical middle power. So Iran is a civilization state, and Iran is actually at the level of superpowers like China. So you have to put Iran at that level. Iran is at the level, when it comes to history, is at the level of powers like India, Indian Hindu civilization. Iran is at the level of the Japanese civilization. So Iran is a superpower. Iran is the successor state to the Persian civilization and the Persian power. Up until the 19th century, up until the in early 1930s, Iran was still called Persia. It was the Shah, the Pahlavi dynasty, that changed the name of Iran from Persia to Iran, because the Persian name came from the Greeks, and the Iranians believe that their original name was Aryan. So Iran means the land of the Aryans, the Indo-European people that came from the states from Central Asia. So you have to understand that Iran is an ancient superpower. The first superpower in the world, the first real superpower in the world was Iran, was the Persian Empire. The first superpower in the world was the Persian Empire. It was called the Achaemenid Persian Empire. So when it comes to superpower status, it started from Iran when they created the Persian Empire after the destruction of the Assyrian Empire and the Babylonian Empire. So you have to understand that we are talking about a superpower here. And Iran does not see itself as inferior to any Western civilization. Iran, if you go and look at their history as a Persian power, as Persia, I'm going to be using Iran and Persia interchangeably because civilization is continuous. This is what I want a lot of Africans, Black people listening to me tonight, and those that are going to listen to me, because out of most of the races on earth, We are the only people that actually do not have the educational foundation to understand the way the world works. We don't understand the way the world is configured. We don't understand the way the world works. And the way the world works is extremely, extremely critical. We have to, when we understand the way the world works, we are surely going to understand, make the right decision without emotions, so that we are never going to be at the mercy of any superpower. This is what the Arabs understood. This is what the Chinese understood. This is what the Indians understood. This is what the Japanese understand. The only people that still do not understand this are the black Africans. That is why when we say think Yoruba first, when we say we should think along civilization lines, when we say we should not choose sides in any war taking place in the Middle East, we should geopolitically align and strategize and make political decisions that actually guarantees us a seat at the table. One of the greatest mistakes the Kurdish people have always been making in the Middle East is to be fighting other people's battle without actually making demands. The Kurds are always used to fight other people's battle. The Kurdish people were used as mercenaries in fighting under the Ottoman Empire. The Kurdish people were used by the Abbasids, by the Fatimids as mercenaries. They don't actually ask in this geopolitical struggle, what is in need for us? What is in need for us, for me? They don't ask. And in geopolitics, they don't assume that the people you are fighting for actually are going to protect your interests. So this is why the issue of this complex issue that we are about to discuss tonight, I don't want you cursing, I don't want you to be angry. I want you to understand why the war of Iran is taking place. So I've been able to give you a fundamental. Iran is a close to more than 3,000 to 500, 3,000 to 5,000 years old civilization. It is older than the Russian civilization. It is older than the existence of the Germanic civilization. Iran is at the level, is even older than the Roman Empire. Iran is older than the Greek civilization. Iran is older than many civilizations that many people praise. So you have to understand that you are not just, forget the fact that they dress like mullahs, they have Islamic clothing. These people still think they are inheritors of the empires of their forefathers. So you look at China. China runs a communist country, and China is atheist. The government of China is officially atheistic. But China, their forefathers, many of them were Buddhists, Confucius, Taoists. They still see themselves as inheritors of these empires that have ruled that place of China. They do not say, oh, their history started, they got independence in 1940, like we do in Nigeria. The Chinese people, we start talking about their history 4,000, 5,000 years ago. They see the world through that lens. The Persians, the Iranians do the same thing. You see Vladimir Putin talking about the history. Vladimir Putin talks about the history of Russia. He does not say, oh, Russia, the Bolshevik Revolution in the 1920s. He talks about the history of Russia since the hundreds, since the 950 AD, since the period of the Romanovs. This is how superpowers think. So let's not go proper into this conversation. Iran is one of the most important countries on the surface of the earth. Iran has the third largest oil and gas reserve in the world. After Venezuela, after Saudi Arabia, it is next is Iran. One quarter, 25%, one quarter of the entire oil and gas in the Middle East is located in Iran. 12%, more than 1/10 of the entire oil and gas in the world is located in Iran. And 1/5 of the entire oil and gas of the world passes through the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran actually has almost total control over. So when we talk about the Strait of Hormuz, what is the Strait of Hormuz? The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow corridor with a sea before that goes into the Indian Ocean, where from where countries like Oman, countries like Iran, even Bahrain, even as part of Saudi Arabia on the eastern flank, where they transport their oil and gas, where their oil and gas, even their maritime routes have to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. There are close to 4 critical navigation centers in the world. That if you control these navigation choke points, you can win any battle, you can determine world economy, you can destroy world economy, and you can even determine the outcome of the war. The first one is the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is extremely critical, which is why the Western world will never allow an Arab nationalist or an Islamic nationalist to control Egypt, which is why the Western world will always want to determine who becomes the leader of Egypt. Because the Suez Canal is extremely critical for world economy and for the survival and continuous domination of European economy and Western economy. So the Suez Canal is extremely critical. So, so that's how important that's why you saw that the Houthis in Yemen, who are also allies of Iran, are threatening to paralyze and destroy global economics by blocking and destroying that area of the Suez Canal in the Red Sea, because that place is where almost most of the shipping containers from the east to the west, that is where they pass through. So let's also talk about the Panama Canal. It's extremely critical because the Panama Canal is where global powers, especially from Japan and the western side of America, if they are going to travel to Africa, to Western Europe, that is where they need to pass through. So the Panama Canal, if you call, that is why when America saw that Chinese companies wanted to take over and kick them out and break their monopoly over the Panama Canal, what did they do? They had to start fighting back, and they started threatening Panama. They've even invaded Panama before in order to ensure that Panama Canal is in their hands. Another example of another important navigation choke point that determines world economy is the Strait of Malacca. The Strait of Malacca is found in Southeast Asia. This is where most of the shipping lanes from those manufacturing powers from China are coming from, and they need to pass through those places before they can go into the Indian Ocean, come to Africa, go to Europe, or go to Suez Canal. So that is why one of the biggest headache of China is to find another route where they can be able to bypass the Strait of Malacca in case there is a war and the Strait of Malacca is blockaded. If the Strait of Malacca is blockaded, China could be cut off from global trade completely. So that is also how important. That is also how important the Strait of Hormuz is. The Strait of Hormuz is very, very critical. The Strait of Hormuz is very, very critical in the control of the flow of energy, oil and gas in the world. I gave a lecture some weeks back where I spoke about oil and gas sovereignty. Oil and gas sovereignty actually determines who becomes the world power. One of the things, the greatest disadvantage that Western Europe has is that Western Europe does not have huge oil and gas deposits. That is the only weak. That is why they've poured billions and billions of dollars in trying to look for alternative sources of energy, electric vehicles, solar energy, as a way to be able to, so that their civilization is not going to depend on other civilization for them to be able to get the oil and gas, the energy that they are going to use for eating, that they are going to use to be able to run their factories. Unfortunately, they've not been able to break this yoke. Unfortunately for them, one of the reasons why Germany lost the Second World War was that Germany did not have enough energy, petroleum, oil and gas to be able to power its industries and to be able to power the Nazi army, to be able to, because they were expanding so much. They were expanding. They could not keep the supply in chain. They could not, and they were losing a lot of equipment. So they did not have enough energy to be able to power their resources, they power their industries. So that you can understand the importance of oil and gas. Let me also go further. The first country to industrialize in the world was Great Britain. Excuse me. The first country to industrialize in the world was Great Britain. Great Britain industrialized in the 18th century. How did Great Britain industrialize? Great Britain industrialized because Great Britain had one of the biggest deposits of coal. Coal, it was this presence of coal in huge quantity in the United Kingdom that gave Great Britain the energy to be able to build huge steam, to be able to build steel making industries, factories, where large industrial machines, goods can be produced at a very, very high rate than they needed, which they could export throughout the world, which they could export throughout the world. This was the foundation of the British power. This was the foundation of the British imperialism. This was the foundation of the British, how Britain became a superpower. So Britain became a superpower because they had so much coal reserve. So this was what they were using in the 18th century and by the 19th century. By the end of the 19th, by the middle of the close to the middle of the 19th century, Britain controlled close to 1/4, 1/4 of the entire world was under Britain. That was how important oil and energy is to the British. Before the rest of the world could catch up, Britain became the center of the financial capital of the world. Not only were they economically advanced, they were also militarily advanced. But by the end of the 19th century, oil production started from America, then later to the Middle East. So the production of petroleum started to change machines, and many of the Western powers understood that machines that were using petroleum and gas were more efficient, were more cleaner, were more robust, were more serviceable, were more manageable than the ones using coal. All of a sudden, coal became almost useless. That's why you see them. One of the things, how important coal was to them was when they created Enugu. Enugu was created by the British because it had huge amount of coal, and they took many of the coal from Enugu to be able to build the industrial powerhouse of the British in the 19th century. So you have to understand how important energy is. So it was this energy was why many European powers started paying attention to the Middle East, and they were looking for ways how to break the Ottoman Empire into pieces. Now, because most of the places you see in the Middle East today that controls where almost 30 to 50, 40 to 50% of the oil and gas of the world comes from, most of these places used to be under the control of the Ottoman Empire. Just close your eyes and imagine if the Ottoman Empire is still existing today. And Ottoman Empire is still controlling Algeria. Ottoman Empire is still controlling Libya. Ottoman Empire is still controlling Egypt. Ottoman Empire is still controlling part of Sudan. Ottoman Empire is still controlling Saudi Arabia. Ottoman Empire is still controlling is still controlling Syria. Ottoman Empire is still controlling Iraq. Ottoman Empire is still controlling Jordan. Ottoman Empire is still controlling Lebanon. Close your eyes and just imagine how stupendously rich and powerful the Ottoman Empire would have been. The Ottoman Empire would have been so powerful. Not only are they going to have one of the biggest and the best indestructible economy in the world, they are surely going to have the human resources to be able to build a powerful empire that would last another 500 years to 1,000 years. So that was what the West saw, because they understood one of the biggest mistakes the Ottoman Empire made was that the Ottoman Empire did not modernize as quickly as possible. And we can see one of the same problems we are seeing in northern Nigeria. The Sokoto Caliphate has refused to modernize. And it is not, that's why we see that it is imploding and it is breaking apart. Otherwise, it's breaking apart. It's dragging everybody down. It is not about hate, but this is the bitter truth. The Ottoman Empire also did the same thing. It did not modernize. It did not. Same thing happened in Russia. The Russian Empire did not modernize, even though it was stupendously rich in human and mineral resources. So the West saw the Ottoman Empire. The way the West saw the Ottoman Empire in the late 19th century is the way the West sees Russia in the 21st century. Let us get Russia, collapse Russia, break Russia apart, and take many of the oil fields, create a lot of small countries. That was the same thing, the same tactics they used. The same tactics was used for the Ottoman Empire. So they broke the Ottoman Empire apart. I am not here to justify the existence of the Ottoman Empire. I'm not here to teach you about morals. I'm here to teach you about what happened ideologically, why the Ottoman Empire was torn apart. So the breakage of the Ottoman Empire was where countries like Saudi Arabia, Syria, all these countries came out. Algeria is a bit came out. Even though the Ottoman Empire was already kicked out by France out of Algeria before France also wanted to take over the Ottoman Empire. Also, France also wanted not just take over Algeria, annex Algeria, and turn Algeria into French land. But that is another history for another day. So you must understand the importance of oil energy, sovereignty, oil and gas in power. Once you have it, you are secured. One of the leverage Nigeria uses to be relevant is the oil and gas. And these people understand this. I'm talking about this particular, the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta understands the power they have because of the oil and gas. The oil and gas they have will not just draw local sympathy or local attention. It is surely going to draw international attention to themselves. So that is why you see that the minorities of the Niger Delta that used to be inconsequential within the politics and politics and the and the politics of Nigeria, all of a sudden they became so powerful within the politics of Nigeria. Let me tell you how powerful the Niger Delta is. In the 2023 primaries in the APC, the Niger Delta man Amechi was the second in APC. In the PDP, it was another Niger Delta man that was the second in the PDP. In 2007, he became the vice president. By 2009, 2011, they became the president of Nigeria. In 2023, between 2023 to 2000, to this moment, they are currently the Senate president of Nigeria, and they are currently the minister of the FCT. 50, 60 years ago, no minority would have ever dared to become relevant within the politics of Nigeria. But because the oil Niger Delta has humongous oil and gas power, which they have now weaponized, and they understand power to be able to negotiate not just locally and internationally, everybody takes them serious. So this is why Iran is extremely critical. So one of the things that America did, the reason why America has gone to war in Iran, one, America took over. They've been able to depose Venezuela. Venezuela has the biggest oil and gas deposit in the world. Crude oil, unlimited. They have so much oil that the oil they have is enough to power any civilization for the next 200, 300 years of massive industrial extraction and industrial use. So they've been able to corner the oil wells, the oil and gas deposits by the arrest and kidnapping. I call it kidnapping of Maduro. So Maduro is gone. Now, I say Maduro, the president of Maduro, the president of Venezuela. Now, the second, so they have Saudi Arabia in their pockets. So Saudi Arabia is already supplying the Western. What Saudi Arabia does is to sell oil. That is why China, Saudi Arabia, and religion is to sell oil and continue to position itself as the guardian of Islam. Now, there are 3 blocks within the Islamic civilization. There are 3 blocks, and these 3 blocks are different ethnic powers, and they have different agenda. Now, the Turks are trying to position themselves as not just the guardian of Islam. They want to be the superpower of Islam that controls be the number one within the Islamic civilization bloc. Because, and this was what the Turks, this was what they did for close to 500 to 600 years of the existence of the Ottoman Empire. That's what the Turks did. They controlled Mecca, they controlled Medina, and they colonized almost the entire Arab world. Almost 70 to 80 of the entire Arab population was under the Turks. They colonized the Arabs for close to 500 to 600 years. So let's also go further. The Arabs believe that they are supposed to be the custodian, not just the custodian of Islam. They are supposed to be the leaders in the Islamic world. Now, the Persians, they've always had history with the Ottoman Empire, with the Russian Empire. The Persians, even though when the Arab conquest of Persia around the 10th to 11th century, the Arab conquest of Persia, the Arabs wanted to Arabize Persia, that they were kicked out. By 11th century, they were kicked out. And Persia, one thing about Persia, Iranians, is that they are very, very rugged. They are very, you can't destroy, they are indestructible. They have the ability to change, they have the ability to form. They can move from one place to the other, they can change. They can change if you try and go, if you invade Persia and you think you've been able to conquer them, what happens is that after 100 years, you yourself, you are going to become assimilated and become Persian. That has always been the history of Persia from the days of the Greek Empire and Greek invasion of Alexander the Great to the days of the Seleucid Empire, the Arab invasion, even the Russians. Russia, China, Persia is indestructible. Even the British, they tried to westernize Persia, they ran away because of their identity. Because of their identity, because of the kind of civilization that they have. Those kind of civilizations are very, very rare. So Persia. Now, I said there is Arab world, and there are Arab world, and there is also the Turkic world, and there's also the Persian world within the Islamic enclave. Those are the three major superpowers within the Islamic world. Others are just attachments, and all these people are in the Middle East. Now, when you said Turkic ethnicities, Turkic tribes, the Turkic tribes are found in Turkey, Azerbaijan, part of Uzbekistan, part of Turkmenistan, part of Kyrgyzstan. So even you see even some part of Syria, you have ethnic Turks. So you are going to argue, even you go to Cyprus, you also have ethnic Turks. So Turkey believes that it's not just that it is the successor state to the Ottoman Empire, and it is right. Why is Turkey a successor state to the Ottoman Empire? Turkey is a successor state to the Ottoman Empire because after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire after the First World War, Turkey was forced to pay all the debts. Turkey paid the debt of the Ottoman Empire till the 1960s. So if they are responsible and Saudi Arabia did not pay the debt, Lebanon did not pay the debt, Syria did not pay the debt, so Turkey sees itself as a continuation of the Ottoman Empire. Just the way Ibadan saw itself as a successor to the Oyo Empire. Just the way Oyo saw itself as a successor to the Ife Empire. So you have to understand that this is a continuing, it's a continuation, and that is how it works. So it's and the Ottoman Empire saw itself as a successor to the Seljuk Empire. Now, I'm so sorry that I'm speaking about different empires. I'm not even because these people are in the same neighborhood, and we have to understand context. We cannot just pick the Iran issue. We cannot just pick the Ottoman Empire. We cannot just pick the Persia. No, people must be able to juxtapose many of these events, many of these countries, many of these civilizations, so that we can be able to properly understand what we are up against, what is the future of the world, what is the likely outcome of what we are currently facing. So Turkey, we always defend the Turkic speaking countries, because all the Turkic countries are not in the same country, even though there is a Turkey are created like a organization of Turkic countries, almost 7 members. So Turkey created such a thing. Yeah, you can check it out. Also, you also have the Arab world. So you have the Arab countries. So the Arab countries, Arab speaking countries from Morocco to Oman to Saudi Arabia, they are also another in one block. Sometimes they use Arab nationalism, sometimes they use Islamic nationalism. And they also detest Turkey hegemony. They vowed never to be under the control of the Turks, because the Turks subjugated them for 500, 600 years. These are historical facts. Now let's talk about Persia. So Persia are the Persian speaking people, and they are not just limited to Iran. Tajikistan is a Persian country. You go to Afghanistan, you go to some places in Uzbekistan, you go to some places in Pakistan. Those are places of where Persian civilization spread to, from northern India to Afghanistan to Pakistan to part of Uzbekistan to Iran. Those are Persian civilization. Many of them, they speak, if you speak a Persian language, you can be able to survive in many of these countries. And they see themselves as kids and kings. that were divided up by Russian Empire and European empires, imperialism. So Russia sees himself as a defender, Persia, Iran sees itself as a defender of the Persian hegemony and interest in that area of the Middle East. So there is also the Persian factor, the Persian civilization factor. That's why you are going to see that in Iran, a lot of people were protesting and fighting Iran, attacking the US embassy because of the war going on in Iran versus American war. Now you look at Iran in Pakistan. Many of these places, many of these people that are protesting are Sunnis. But why are they defending a Shia country? Because they share the same ethnicity. This thing is very fluid. Now let us not go further. Now, Iran also did something. In 1501, Iran, formerly called Persia, adopted Shia as the state religion. Now, there is a schism. There are different sects of Islam. Just the way you have in Christianity, you have Catholicism, you have Protestantism. In Islam, there are different sects. Now, the two major sects, there are ones Ismaili, Ibadi, but the two major sects of Ahmadiyya, the two major sects of Islam is Shia Muslim and Sunni Muslim. Now, why did this happen? This schism happened after the death of Prophet Muhammad. And after this schism, the schism was just on succession. The Shia believe that the caliph that should take over from Prophet Muhammad is that caliph should be from the family of the Prophet. While the Sunnis, they believe that anybody following the Sunnah can emerge as the caliph. And that division till today is why you have many of the divisions in the Middle East, the bloody confrontations in the Middle East. So the Iranians had always been looking for a way to separate themselves. That even though we are Muslims, we would never bow down to Arab domination or Turkish domination, because we are the first superpowers. We are Persians. We are the real Europeans. We are the special race. Even though we are Muslims, does not mean we are surely going to be bowing down to anybody. This is how the Persians think. And let me tell you something. They have one of the best mathematicians, one of the best physicists, one of the best intellectuals that you can ever have. In fact, you see the Iranians, they are all over the world. They are brilliant in mathematics, in IT. They are so brilliant. I have had some of them as classmates. So these are not just a backward people. No, this is an ancient civilization. These are people that know who they are. So they've been able to study, because while I say a lot of things, when we say think Yoruba first as a Yoruba people, you cannot embrace Islamic nationalism as a Yoruba man and think the Yoruba people are not going to become enslaved within a multipolar world order. You cannot embrace Christian nationalism. We are seeing a lot of people a lot of Igbos trying to gaslight and trying to export their version of Christianity that is totalitarian, that is radical, into Yoruba land, where Yoruba Christians are going to be seeing their Yoruba Muslims as enemies. That is how they want to bring it into Yoruba land. We are seeing it already in critiquing who is a real Christian and who is not a real Christian in Yoruba land, using the lens of the Igbos to try and interpret Christianity for the Yoruba people in the name of Christian brotherhood. The same thing we are seeing from the north, where we are seeing Fulanis trying to export their own radical type of Islam that they've been able to use to neutralize, to euthanize the Hausa people from ever trying to challenge them for political power in their homeland. They are trying to bring it into the West, into Yoruba land. So that is why we say you need to think Yoruba first. The Iranians, they think Persian first, but they've been able to weaponize and close it into Islam. And I'm going to break it down to you for you. The Shia sect of Islam have been one of the most subjugated and most persecuted Muslim Islamic sects in the Arab world. There are a lot of, most after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. I gave a lecture few weeks ago that one of the biggest beneficiary of the Sykes-Picot line and the fall of the Ottoman Empire were the Arabs. The fall of the Ottoman Empire liberated the Arabs. The fall of the Ottoman Empire also gave power to Arab Sunni Islam. So you go to places like Yemen, where you have a huge, powerful Shia power, Shia people, Shia population, even though are Arabs. You go to places like Bahrain, that also have a huge population of people that are Shia. You also go to places like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is not 100%. Is not 100% Sunni. Close to 20 to 30% of Saudi Arabia is also Shia. But what happened? They do not have political power. The Shia do not have political power. That is why many of you don't talk about religion. We're not talking about religion. We are just educating you for you to understand the way the world works. So what did Iran do? Iran played a very nice game. Iran started using training and empowering this Shia, funding them, giving them weapons, giving them money, using their humongous oil wealth to be able to fund a lot of dissidents in the Arab world, but that are Shia against the authority. So all of a sudden, from Iraq to Saudi Arabia to Bahrain to Yemen, you have a lot of proxy militias that can fight, that are strong, that are very, very militant, and they can be able to take on any power. That's what you saw in Lebanon. Lebanon basically is built on a tripod: the Christians, the Sunni, and the Shia. Now, what happened? Iran poured so much money into Lebanon and created a powerful army that can fight any army in the Middle East, which is called the Hezbollah. So with Hezbollah in Lebanon, Iran does not need to move troops. Iran can go toe-to-toe with Israel. Iran can go toe-to-toe with Syria. Iran can go toe-to-toe with any Arab country. That is what they did. So you now have, so it was not so, Iran is not just sitting down in that area in the Strait of Hormuz and sitting down. Iran is also projecting power through Shia Islam. So when you hear Shia Islam now, what comes to your mind is Iran. Iran has made themselves the custodian and defender of Shia Islam. Iran also did something. They look at the Arab, because Iran does not want to be number 2 in the Islamic world. Iran does not want to be number 3 in the Islamic world. Even though, that is why you need to understand this ideology of saying, everybody came from us. I'm not trying to the Igbos we are the ones civilizing the Igbos. It doesn't work that way in civilization, because you have to understand that it was the Chinese that civilized the Japanese. But look at what the Japanese were under the Chinese in tributary system of empire for close to more, for centuries. I don't want to mention 9,000 years or 2,000, but for centuries. The Chinese gave the Japanese spirituality. They taught them many technology. They taught them how to read and write. They taught them literacy. Many of the things the Japanese knew. But so it doesn't matter, because it was the Arabs that took Islam to the Turks. The Turks, who are also nomadic people, the Arabs are nomadic people, the Turks are nomadic people, the Persians, the Iranians are nomadic people. Nomadic people are very, very militant and very powerful. They are the ones controlling the world. Look around you. The Jews are nomadic people. The Tutsis are nomadic people. The Fulanis are nomadic people. The Germanic people are also nomadic people, because they are the ones that control the world. They are not. They are very, very They are very, very militaristic. They are very, very militaristic. They are martial, because their society, their reality has forced them to become human machines. So that took the Arabs Islamized the Turks, did not stop the Turks using the same Islamic power and Islamic institution to colonize, enslave, oppress, and subjugate the Arabs for 500 years. So this is the ideology of the Persians. Yeah, we are Muslims, but we are Shia Muslims, but we want to become the leader of the Islamic world. That is why the Shia, what the Iranians also did, was to position themselves, especially after the Iranian Revolution, as the defender of Islamic cause, especially the issue of Palestine. They made the issue of Palestine do or die. That is why you see Iran celebrating Al-Quds Day. What is Quds? Al-Quds is Jerusalem. Because one of the issues of Palestine is the fight for who controls Jerusalem. It's a fight for who is the owner of Jerusalem. And what has Iran did? Iran decided to even turn majority of the chunk of its budget to be fighting that it is an apocalyptic war, a war that they see through their Persian ideology of good fighting against evil, light fighting against darkness. In the Middle East, against the Jews. So you look at even many Muslims around the world are no longer, they see Iran as the leader of the Islamic world that has the guts to challenge the Jews, to challenge all the quote unquote Zionists, to challenge America as regards to the fighting for the oppressed Muslims in Palestine. Even though Hamas is Sunni, the Shia country powerhouse is defending their rights. And this is the perception. This is the ideology that Iran is projecting. That is why we are going to see Shia members, the followers of Isaac Zaki, are one of the biggest radicals. They are not protesting in Kaduna, they are protesting in Abuja. And they are very, very ready. They don't care. They are already dead. More than 3,000 or 5,000 people was killed in 1 or 2 days in Kaduna. And then Zaki lost many of his sons and was placed on arrest. He almost lost his life. But have you seen them stop doing what they are doing? No, they didn't stop. They still kept on fighting. So that is the ideology that Iran has pushed across the world. It is, look, that's why we say the religion is power. Even within religion, your version of religion is also power. This is what Iran has done. Iran also did the same thing. Iran did the same thing. You see, across the Middle East. But let us also go further. This is why the entire fiasco is so complex. And you see countries like Bahrain will never support Iran. Never. Because they understand that if Iran finally becomes a superpower, the Sunni Arabs are going to be chased, ruling hegemony in the Bahrain, are going to be chased out of Bahrain. If Iran becomes a superpower, Saudi Arabia knows that in Southern Arabia, the Houthis are going to become a pain for them in the control of that area of the Red Sea, because Saudi Arabia wants to be the biggest superpower that controls the Red Sea in that axis. That is why Saudi Arabia is so happy that Ethiopia does not have access to the sea, to the Red Sea. Ethiopia does not have access to the Red Sea. So it is only the Arab world, Egypt on one side, Saudi Arabia on the other side, and Somalia, which Egypt has also become their allies, that have access, that control, and Djibouti, which is another Somali country, because most of the people in Djibouti are Somalis and Afar, but the Somalis have been able to subjugate the majority Afar people, majority Afars. So you need to understand the way the world is working. You do not look at it from red, black, and white. There's a lot of brutal power struggle going on. So I've been able to talk about the oil and gas sovereignty. So the Western world understands that if China can lay its hand on Iran, China will become indestructible. The power of China is the ability to be able to project power through its indestructible industry. Now, I said one of the things that make you a superpower is the ability for you to be able to produce almost eternally anything you need for war in terms of war. Anything you need. War is one of the most cost intensive activity anybody goes into. So this is what this is what China has, and that is why Europe is currently suffering. Europe used to use cheap Russian gas and oil to power its industry, but because of the Ukraine war, Europe thought Russia was weak and they were not diplomatic enough. What happened? The economy of Ukraine of Europe, Western Europe, tanked because they do not have oil and gas sovereignty. Now, let me also tell you the ideology. Let me tell you the ideology of Persia. Now, even though Iran has become an Islamic country, they are still influenced by their Zoroastrian Persian ideology. Just like you are going to see a Yoruba Muslim that says, I am Omoluabi. Even though Omoluabi is from Ifa, there's no say I'm Omoluabi, I don't cause trouble. I'm well behaved. Even though he's a Muslim. That is the same thing you have with Persian, Iranian Muslims. Now, what is the ideology of Zoroastrianism? Even though many of them they don't practice that religion anymore. Now, the ideology of Zoroastrianism is that they see the world time through linearly. But I'm not going to go deep into that. They also see the world through two prisons. The prison that the world is an eternal struggle between life between the Lord of the darkness and the Lord of the of evil. So they see themselves as the light. The Iran sees itself as the light, while the rest of the world is darkness. They believe that they're supposed to fight, they're supposed to spread their light to all over the world, that every world is evil. That is why you see that part of the bomb that they were using to bomb Israel, they labeled it as Baal. They see, that's what they see America as the great Satan. It is their ideology. That is how Persian, the Achaemenid Persian Empire, that is how they saw their neighbors. It is the same ideology you are going to see that also the Roman Empire saw. The Roman Empire saw anybody that was not conquered as barbarians. That was why they called the German, the word German means barbarians. Because the Germans were not part of the Germans above the Rhine River were not conquered. Beyond the Rhine River were not conquered. So they call them barbarians. That is where the word Germans came from. The same thing as the Greeks. When you go and read many of the history of ancient historians like Herodotus, Xenophon, ancient Greek historians like Herodotus, ancient Greek historians like what's the name of this historian? Xenophon. Now, these historians, the way they classify the world, they saw the other part of the world as barbarians. Alexander the Great saw the world as that he was trying to project power. He was trying to civilize the entire world. He divided the world into the Hellenistic world and the barbarians. That is the way Persia, Iran sees the world. So you're also going to look at the Fulanis, the Sokoto Caliphate. When they were doing their jihad and conquering the world, everybody was not Muslim enough. Everybody is not good enough. Everybody is not good enough. So they need to be able to conquer a lot of people. They need to be able to spread and take over power, change the local power, and they were able to hide under Islam for this political agenda. The same thing. You also see this ideology coming from the Southeast when Zeke started this madness. When Zeke believed that the Hebrews are meant to liberate the entire Africa, that they are the chosen race. That is why you see them, they are more interested in what happens if 2,000, 10,000 people dies in the Southeast. They don't see anything. If a rat dies in Lagos or Ibadan, they are the ones that are crying beyond the reprieve. Oh, we don't care. Oh, we are going to teach you good governance. That is why Azikwe believed he has the divine mandate to rule the Yoruba race, because it is this supremacist ideology. It is this supremacist ideology. The same thing, and he got this ideology from America, where the Pan-Africanism was hijacked by some black Americans who believe that because they've lived in the West, they've lived, they are now Americans, they are now British, they are more evolved and more advanced than to come and be able to become the super black race to teach and liberate the people back home. That's why you see people like GRB with their supremacist idea. You can't even hide it. He's always talking about the pedigree. How his forebearers are coming from America, coming from Canada. And because of that, they are the real Lagosians. They are the real people that should be able to rule. If they also have the same ideology, if they believe they are the source of the civilization of the entire world, so you should be able, if you want the best system of governance, you want civilization, you should come to Ife to be able to come and learn it. This is the bitter truth, and this is the way the world works. I wish. So this is the reality, and this is why Iran is what it is. I've spent more than 1 hour giving a lecture, 1 hour approximately, to be able to talk about Iran and why Iran is what it is. I hope we can be able to give more explanation next week, because I've not been able to talk about the war strategy of Iran. What is the end goal of Iran? What how is Iran fighting? And what is going to happen to America? Maybe we are going to finish next week. Hopefully, I'll be happy to continue next week. Because of our time, I'm going to stop here. Thank you so much for those of you that listened all through. For those of you that have been here all through, may Lord Almighty continue to be with us. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Are, thank you so much. Eshegon. Yeah, that was a powerful one. Baba Bakari, sure. Baba Bakari, yes, Simbe. Okay, Ejeka Deswaji. Are, Eshegon, thank you so much. That was a powerful lecture, as always. Ali, a máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín náà ni pé omi ọgbọ́n tí ẹ̀ ń fún wa mu. Ẹ ṣé gan. Thank you so much. Baba Bakari, are you there? Okay, sir. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful to have Are speak to us. Are was able to successfully, break down geopolitics into understandable logic. We've seen how oil equals economic power, control of supply equals political leverage, and strategic location becomes global influence. Are Shegoni, thank you very, very much. We have not seen. Let me see if there's any. We have anybody who wants to ask a question before we're going to. Please, anybody that has any question is free to. Okay, I see a comment here from a very regular person on this space. This is Mr. Yomite. He said Crazy Zeke, he deployed West African pilot to destabilize and divide the Western region. His boy Obi is following in his footsteps. Yeah, those are some comments. And yeah, for now, before we have others that will come up to ask any question. Um, if we may ask, Are, at after every global point, okay.
Should we have um, should we have a music break before we continue,
Oh, okay. If that's what you want, fine.
so that at least people can ask, people can be prepared, so that people can relax
Why
and
don't we?
for them.
Why don't you ask those two questions? I will play the music. After the music, then we can come back to people can ask prepare to answer those questions. What do you think, Aaron?
No problem.
Okay, Madam Jeka, you want to go ahead and give us those two questions for to all our listeners and our viewers. And how do you want them to answer the question, please? Is it by chat or by call?
Is Ayomide there?
Will it be by call or by chat? Because I know on YouTube and Facebook we can see fast response. And okay, Brother Rene has pasted those questions on our back handle.
Okay.
Earlier he said,
Let me read out the question.
okay, please go ahead.
The first question. I mean, who created the Achaemenid Empire? Are, Shegbo question. You want to answer the question?
I'm not the one to answer. It is people are going to answer the
It's
question,
from
and we are going
the
to give
Okay,
gifts. Yeah.
that is the okay. I get it. I thought that this is not our question, but this is our question now. Okay, I sorry. So, Ejo ṣé gbogbo ilé gbọ́. Uh, we will be happy if ẹni tó bá máa dáhùn question bóyá ẹ máa fi sórí chat ni àbí by phone ni. Please let's know. So, ẹ jẹ́ kí n tún ka question yẹn lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Question 1. Who created the Achaemenid Empire? The second question, in what year was Shiite Islam adopted as that religion in Iran? I'll repeat the question again. First question, who created the Achaemenid Empire? Second question, in what year was Shiite Islam adopted as the state religion in Iran? I think we have one answer
Oh, okay.
from
So
Reverend Lani Star.
is that
But
from Facebook or from Twitter or from where?
yeah, from Twitter.
Okay.
Osman Ghazi founded the Ottoman Empire.
Can
Oh,
I repeat
okay.
the question? The
That is not
question
the
is,
question.
The
who
question is on the screen.
created the Achaemenid Persian Empire?
Achaemenid Empire.
Yeah.
That's number first question. The second question is, in what year was Shia Islam adopted as state religion? We are going to be choosing two people, and probably we would like the two people to be from Nigeria because if you are in America, what we are going to give, our gifts might be useless to you. so,
Okay, and the
so we
same
will do it.
person to ought to respond.
Well,
Cyprus the
don't
Great.
let us have as many answers as possible. So,
Okay, then.
so let us continue, and that's why I said we should take a music break and everything.
All right,
So,
no problem. But nevertheless, we note the answer down with the name.
yeah. So people on the TikTok, if we have people on TikTok, we have people on YouTube, we have people on Facebook. Please kindly drop your answers. You can also call the TYF official line, and also quickly drop your answer. So that's what we are going to be doing every week. Uh, so afterwards, we are going to contact them. We are not going to announce the winners here. So we
Okay.
want as many. If you can add more information to your quote, to your answer, it's surely going to be fantastic. We are going to announce
So
it
with
by the
the
special
winner
day.
will be chosen by the time they brought the answers in, right? The fastest finger, if I'm right away.
Yes,
Okay.
the fastest finger and the best answer.
Okay. All right. Okay. There's a question for you, Are. Before we go into that question, does Iran has what it? I'm going to put that on the screen now. Okay. Does Iran has what it takes to sustain the ongoing war beyond 3 to 6 months, considering of how critical the blockade of Strait of Hormuz to the Iranian allies and the GCC countries? Should we go into the music now? Just a music break before you answer
Let's
the
go into
question.
the music break
All right. Thank you very much.
and play the TY band then.
ilẹ̀ wa ń sunkún lábẹ́ ìrì, àwọn bàbá wa ń wọ́ wa lókè, wọ́n filẹ̀ yìí sí ọwọ́ wa, ṣùgbọ́n a gbàgbé ohun tí wọ́n ń sọ. À ń jagun ara wa lójú ọ̀nà, à ń ta ìtàn wa lọ́wọ́. Bí a kò bá rántí ibi tá a ti ń bọ̀, báwo la ṣe máa mọ ibi tá a lọ? Ẹ̀jẹ̀ àwọn bàbá ṣì ń pè wá nínú afẹ́fẹ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ohùn ilẹ̀ ń ké pé má ṣe gbàgbé ẹni tí ó jẹ́. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a gbé ilẹ̀ wa gọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a pa ìtàn wa kọ́. Òrìṣà ilé ń wò wá lọ́dọọdún, àwọn bàbá ń dúró dè wá. Ilẹ̀ tí a jogún kì í ṣe títà, ìran tí ń bọ̀ wá. Ọmọ Yorùbá jí kúrò nínú òrùn, àkókò ti dé báyìí. Tí a bá fẹ́ ọjọ́ ọ̀la rere, a gbọ́dọ̀ rántí ara wa. Ilẹ̀ ìsọ̀lọ̀ nínú wàhálà wa, ìran wa ń pè wá padà. Ohùn nínú kébé, má ṣe gbàgbé ìtàn rẹ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a gbé ilé wa dá. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a pa ìdá wa mọ̀. Kí a bá ti lọ́kọ̀, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yóò tún rọ̀. Ohùn bàbá ń ké lọ́run, ẹ má ṣe gbàgbé ara yín. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́, kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ́kọ́.
Yeah, well, welcome back. Thank you very much for enjoying that beautiful music. And that question again, Ari, that you have to take first is on your screen. Does Iran has what it takes to sustain the ongoing war beyond 3 to 6 months, considering how critical the blockade of Strait of Hormuz to the Iranian allies and the GCC countries? You are muted, Ari. You are muted. Ari, you are muted.
I said we still thank you so much. If you enjoy the anthem you just listened to, please um send us messages. The bad like orin yẹn is surely going to be out very soon, where we are going to even have a video that you can use as your ringing tone and everything. That is the TYF anthem. You are saying, we are really making it look nice. And kudos to the person that wrote it. We are going to unveil the person. He's a wonderful TYF ESCO and TYF member. Um, For those of you that are answering the questions, who founded the Achaemenid Empire? What year? And in what year was Shia Islam adopted as a state religion in Iran? Those are the two questions you need to answer. And we will prefer somebody from Nigeria. Two people are going to be picked. We just give you, and this is going to be every Yoruba Rono session. And if talking about year Shia Islam was adopted in Iran, you can also put the dynasty and a little bit of history of what happened. So please, we need answers coming in. We need answers coming in. And if you don't want people, you can send the answer to the TYF official WhatsApp message. If you don't want people to also steal your answers, you can also DM the TYF handle directly and drop your answer there. DM the TYF pack handle and drop your answer there. Tó bá lọ fi answer ètò fi sí abẹ́ tweet. Tell me about copy ẹ̀ tó ṣe àwọn ààrẹ wọ́n ti jí pé wọ́n ti jí answer mi ò jí answer ẹ o. You want it because it's the bitter truth. Because this is surely going to be happening. We want to make it very, very interactive. By the special grace of Almighty, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ń pè wọlé gan, ẹ tún máa gba ẹ̀bùn lọ́tọ̀. If you are calling in, you are going to be getting a gift differently. So because this is your show, this is your platform, we are just the managers. See, Yoruba Ronu World Stage program belongs to all of us, belongs to you. Now, Baba Bakare, ṣé ilẹ̀ bèrè question yẹn?
Èmi kọ́ ààrẹ o, ẹ má kó bá mi o, èmi kọ́ mo béèrè o.
What I'm going to be very blunt, even though I wanted to
That's
discuss
the
this
question
in
again. It's from
aha
11.
the Iran is going to wreck the Middle East. What Iran is doing, it is called the asymmetric warfare. There are two types of warfare, asymmetrical and symmetrical. Iran is going to ensure that the whole world knows that the cost of this war is too big for the whole world to be able to handle. Iran is like a goat that is cornered to a wall. It has nothing to lose. And Iran has been planning for this war. And let me tell you what Iran has done. Iran understands one fundamental thing. 1/5 to 1/4 of the entire oil and gas of the world passes through through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran needs to just blow up any living and non-living thing that wants to move through that strait. It does not. It has and Iran. That's number one. Two, Iran has been able to build a powerful drone technology military complex. What is the drone technology military complex? There is something called the Shahid drone. Let me go further. The Shahid drone costs maybe ten to $30,000 to build one. But for you to be able, the Tomahawk missile, the missiles that you are going to use, the Iron Domes, anti-missiles that you are going to use to stop it, cost $1 million. It's just like that is the strategy of the war. So you are using bulletproof, but some people òkúta ńláńlá ló mú dání. So someone lè òkúta kò sí bí bulletproof kò ṣe ní crack. So that is what they are doing. And kò síbi tí wọ́n lè lé òkúta yẹn mọ́. Wọn ò kí ẹ̀ pé o ṣe ẹ̀kọ́ mansion, o ṣe ẹ̀kọ́ sí kìíní, kò síbi tí wọn ò lẹ̀ mọ́. Hotel ni wọ́n ti sọ́ọ̀sì wọn máa target tourists. So àwọn tourists tó lọ máa ń jó ní beach wọn láàrin ìhó wọn máa yọ̀dí ní ìhó kò sẹ́ni tó lọ bẹ̀ mọ́ báyìí sìn. They will cripple everywhere. Iran there build the drone industry with their drone power that it can reach anywhere in the Middle East. It will reach everywhere, anywhere in the Middle East. So by the time nobody can be able to do anything in that axis anymore, it paralyzes the entire Middle East. Iran knows it cannot get to America. America is far away. But Iran knows it can frustrate Israel. Iran knows. Iran is not fighting a open warfare. And Iran is not, what Iran is also doing, Iran has also decentralized its military leadership. All the military leadership of Iran are acting independently. Trump said he doesn't even know who to talk to anymore. Because they are ready to destroy, they are ready to fight for as long as possible. So, and they perfected the drone technology. With the current drone technology, it is cheaper. They can cause maximum damage. With just maybe $100 million worth of military equipment, Iran can destroy an economy that is worth $1 trillion. Who is going to cry? Iran is already sanctioned. It is sanction. So it has nothing to lose. So this battle, this war, it's a war of no return for the West. I'm sorry to say this. The Western countries, and let me even tell you the truth, that Iran has been very critical. Iran don't supply Russia need drone technology yìí tí Russia fi ń bá Ukraine jà. It is now Ukrainian engineers and experts that are now coming to teach America how to be able to stop Iranian drone. Because Ukraine has been able to find field capability and field capacities to be able to stop and fight this kind of warfare. It's a very, very diabolical and very, very crazy kind of warfare. So this is what is happening. Blow up as many oil fields as possible, destroy everything, and Russia is now playing the devil's advocate. Russia is currently using its ability, its satellites, to also give Iran coordinates. And when America was asking Russia to stop it, Russia said, no problem. I will stop it when you stop supplying Ukraine with military intelligence. I will stop my own too in Iran. It's as simple as that. So this war, even though you kill as many leaders as possible, it is surely you are just going to slow down Iran. And after this war, Iran is going to throw caution into the wind and go and acquire a nuclear weapon. Write it down. Iran knows that the reason why America is not going to dare attack North Korea because is that North Korea has nuclear weapon. So Iran will rather go all the way, eat grass if their population is going to eat grass if possible, and go into a full-blown isolationist mode for the next 50 to 60 years and come out with nuclear capability. Because the gloves are off. The gloves are off. And what about China? China has lost the ability to get cheap oil from Venezuela. China is getting it from Russia, good. But China is from Venezuela, but the America has cut China out from Venezuela. China cannot go to Saudi Arabia. So China will also do what it takes to also start buying a huge chunk of Iranian oil. And China will want Iran to be Iran. We do everything in its capacity, not so that Iran is not going to fall. The huge oil and gas power and wealth not to fall into the hands of America. So that's what China is probably going to do now. Even though they're not going to have boots on ground, Because let me tell you what China. Let me also tell you something. Iran has been planning for this war. Iran has been planning for this war for the past 30 to 40 years. For the past 30 years. And what they did was a SWOT analysis. Iran knows that they cannot have they don't have the military of doing aircraft, of having a massive fleet aircraft. No, what they built is their own drone technology. Like I said, they also have suicide boats, and they weaponize the Strait of Hormuz. So that is why, if you are geopolitically located, you can be able to cut chaos. Let's say Boko Haram and ISWAP were controlling the oil and gas of Nigeria. Nigeria would have negotiated with Boko Haram and ISWAP. They would have done it because it is affecting where Nigeria gets money from, the economic lifeline. So that was what you saw, what the Niger Delta militants did. They didn't go around looking for Nigerian soldiers. What did they do? They wrecked the Nigerian economy. They wrecked it totally. During the time of Buhari declared Ompolo wanted, blah, blah, blah. They didn't shout. Nigeria, at a point in time for close to 2 weeks, Nigeria was not producing one single barrel of crude oil. They shut everything down. That is what asymmetrical warfare is all about.
So,
They
Are,
will
they will survive 6 months, right?
they will survive 5 years because Taliban survived. They will survive 20 years. Taliban survived the American occupation for 20 years. North Korea survived American sanction and everything for more than 20 years. They will survive. So the only thing that is going to wreck America currently is that if America that is going to wreck Iran currently is if Iran implodes internally. If Iran does not implode internally, which is why you see them saying, "Oh, the people of Iran stand up. The people of Iran stand up and fight for your rights. The people of Iran stand up and fight for your rights." If Iran does not implode internally, Iran is not going to fall
Iran
because
fẹ́
we've
kú,
seen it in
Israel
Iran.
Israel ò fẹ́ kú, America ò fẹ́ kú, but Iran fẹ́ kú, so wọn kíá.
Yeah. Yeah.
Iran I don't want to believe that Israel does not want to die. Israel don't give a damn. The problem is that many of us don't understand the ideology of the Middle East. In the question colony in East Africa and North Africa and the Middle East, can somebody, Barrister Olu Ogutimehin, you are also here, Mr. Madam Ejide, Madam Mr. Bakari, and people listening, can somebody give me an example where any problem in the Middle East has been solved via democracy, has been solved via election, or has been solved via negotiation? No, they kill themselves. It is a fight to finish.
Yeah.
It is the victor takes it all. Out. It doesn't happen in the Middle East. It doesn't happen in North Africa. It doesn't happen in East Africa. It doesn't happen.
I like
So what
you.
we are working is because that is the Semitic people.
Yeah.
Like I told you, theory àwọn ìran darandaran, nomadic people, they think the same way. Whether they are light skin, black skin, dark skin, ìran darandaran they negotiate. Torí ẹ̀dẹ̀ àwọn tó sọ pé fẹ́ negotiate pẹ̀lú Fulani, àwọn Fulani bandits ní north. I'm just laughing. You are wasting your time. It is a well, you are wasting your time. Nigeria doesn't know what it's up against. That is the advantage.
Are,
Yeah.
could that be coming from their martyrdom ideology?
Yeah. It's matter. It's not. You say, for instance, you look at the Jews. The Jews also have this apocalyptic ideology. This apocalyptic ideology is that they see Iran as the Antichrist that needs to be fought. How am I going to put it? It is the
Destroy.
last battle before the Messiah come. They need to destroy Iran. is from the east. That is how they see Iran. They are fighting a spiritual warfare.
Yeah, they
Now,
say that.
Iran also sees Israel as bad, as evil. That
Hmm.
according to spiritual revolution, the
Revelation.
spiritual guidance, they are fighting a spiritual warfare. So this is how they think. So we are in trouble. Káàtì ẹ̀ máa dúpẹ́ pé they are not our neighbors. Àwọn tó jẹ́ neighbor wa lásán, àwọn tó ń fojú wa rí àlè lọ́sọ̀kọ àlè lọ́sọ̀dọ̀. Táwọn ronú bákan náà báyẹn náà.
Are there even any question me to my coming? What is actually the impact for Africa?
And the impact for Africa is that the problem is
Specifically,
that
Yorubaland. Are
the problem is that African leaders don't actually know what is coming. Let me give you this instance, sir. When ISIS was defeated in the Middle East, ibo ni ISIS padà tún ṣe base? Africa.
okay. Hmm.
When Al Qaeda was crippled in the Middle East, where did Al Qaeda relocate to? Africa. People don't actually understand that the future of the Middle East and the future of Africa has always been intertwined. And I'm going to give you, for the Christians and Muslims in our midst, I'll give two instances. Where was Moses born? Is he not in Africa? All his things, the prophet, was he not in Africa? When Jesus was about to be killed in the Middle East, was he not Egypt? Was he not Africa? Because what people call Egypt then might actually be Ethiopia, might actually be part of Sudan. Because all those places were part of the Egyptian Empire. So what happens in the Middle East has always spilled over to Africa for the past 5,000 years. So tá máa ń ṣe oríire ní Middle East, oríire yẹn máa ṣẹ̀wá sí West Africa àti gbogbo Africa. Tá má dẹ̀ ń ṣe ìdàkejì ẹ̀, mi ìfẹ́ sọ pé orí burúkú lórí láìpẹ́ ẹ̀ láwà. Tá ń ṣe ìdàkejì ẹ̀ ní Middle East, it is going to come to Africa. So what is happening in the Middle East? The war in the Middle East will surely spill into Africa.
So, Are, what specific lessons should Yoruba land and Nigeria as a whole learn from this Iran's use of energy as a tool of sovereignty and geopolitical influence?
The problem is that there are some advantages Iran has. It is very dangerous to compare Nigeria, uh, 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 Nigeria to Iran. Nigeria is a creation of Britain. It has no identity, no civilization. It is confused. It doesn't know maybe it's an Islamic country. It doesn't know maybe it's a Christian country. It doesn't know it's a Zionist country. It does not know. It is mismatch. Sometimes it says it's a federal country. Sometimes it says it's a unitary country. No, nothing whatsoever. The people don't even agree.
And we are
So
not patriotic.
you can't be patriotic because there's no civilization.
Yeah. So some
So
people are even ready to put it down.
thank you very much. If America invades Nigeria tomorrow, there are millions of Nigeria that will go and join America to fight Nigeria. If Iran invades Nigeria tomorrow, there are many people that will go and join Iran army to fight Nigeria.
Hey, not sure.
So you now have a situation. So Iran Iran on the other hand, it's a civilization state. This
If
is
as
something
somebody
that's
was
been
telling me
existing.
today, Iran is the work of God, Yoruba man.
So Iran has been existing for the past 5,000 years.
He doesn't see Yoruba as anything.
It
Arena,
doesn't.
are we resource rich in Yoruba land or we are strategy poor?
Being resource rich is a cause.
Because you have talked about being rich resourcefully and being poor strategically.
Of course, for instance, Congo is resource rich, but it has one of the
Yeah.
most
Well,
terrible human managers in the world.
yeah.
So your resources is as useless
Yeah.
if you don't have the right human resources. So it is let's be talking about human capability. We have a lot of capacity in Yoruba land, but we don't have the right people in the right because what happened for the past 40 years was that for Nigeria to survive, for the unitary system of Nigeria to continue, which is feudal, which is backward, which is retrogressive, which is just to create a pluralistic oligarchy class. It must the best of you cannot be in power. It's impossible. It's only mediocres, it's only entertainers, people that are not intellectually sound. They are the people that are surely going to be speaking for you. So that's how we got here. That's why intellectuals are not respected within the Yoruba politics anymore. Nobody even gives a damn. That is why we are so happy that this kind of a platform, this kind of an institution is extremely critical. It's extremely critical. It's going to take a lot of time. But if the job is properly well done, we will surely be able to bring back our people from the position of docility. So it is not fair to compare Iran and Nigeria. No, we are not in the same league. Those ones are civilization states. Iran should be compared to Russia, should be compared to China, should be compared to America. And America does not operate independently. America also operates along civilization states, which is Roman Western civilization. I'm done.
Thank you, Are. Good work is up. Let's hear from him. Good work. Are you there? Please just raise your hand. Let me see you. Good work, Aram. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Are is listening.
I think it's always very enlightening to listen to you. Like the way you've gone over the entire Iran issue was very, very enlightening. But my question is, for me, like I'm not actually like my question is on the sense that how do you see the direction of the world going with the involvement of maybe Kurds and Israel, considering that Israel also has its own objective for the Middle East, and Israel can actually go toe to toe with Iran based on technology and in any sense, and the fact that Israel also has its own. Israel was able to infiltrate the Iran government with Mossad. Do you see that like changing the direction of how the world goes with the involvement of the Kurds and Israel in that war? Because for me, I feel like that war is more to satisfy the interest of Israel in the Middle East rather than maybe the US. So how do you see that going?
Thank you so much. I'm trying to look at how I'm going to answer your question. Okay, do you know that somebody was caught? An Israeli soldier was caught selling military secrets to Iran. Do you know how much he collected? $1,000 to be selling military secrets to Iran. So as Israel is also infiltrating Iran, Iran also is also infiltrating Israel. The level of infiltration might be different, but with the current situation of things, forget about it. So what the war in Afghanistan has taught us, that a well organized, asymmetrical, decentralized military army can defeat the biggest superpower in the world. Now, Afghanistan has demonstrated it 2 times. The Mujahideens, which later became our Taliban, defeated the mighty USSR. People don't know that it was that asymmetrical warfare strategy. Ogun Afghanistan to USSR lọ́jà ní 1980s. That was what bankrupted and led to the demise and the destruction of USSR. So when empires goes to war and they don't get the outcome they need, oftentimes they get bankrupt and destroyed. America was lucky to quickly run away out of Iran. Because what they need to do in Iran, what the Iranians need to do is to lure America into the conflict and make America bleed. So that's just it. So this situation is not a matter of Mossad or no Mossad. This is warfare. And Iran, during the war period, can produce thousands and thousands of drones that they can use to destroy any facility. So you bring your ships, you bring your aircraft, you bring anything. They just need to send this bomb. And these are unmanned drones. There is no human life lost. You don't need to go and build a airport, get to launch a drone. You can sit in your window, you throw it, be kite, you run away.
Barely.
The future of warfare is scary. People don't know what is coming. That is why it has become almost so. If you go and look at the strategy of ISIS, Boko Haram, Al Qaeda, JNIM, Al Shabaab, everybody is now using the strategy that Taliban used to just not only to defeat USSR, to also defeat America, which is asymmetrical warfare. That is what these guys are using against the Nigerian army in the northeast. Nigeria has been fighting them for 16 years. While Nigeria, we are struggling economically, almost 10, 20, 30% of our GDP is going to this war. Adanoni. So you run away. And that has been the history of the world. And I told you this is what Iran has been doing. Any foreign power that invades Iran, later on, you are going to run away. That's why Iran has been existing for the past 3,500 years. It's a very dangerous country. Well, many superpowers, Babylonian Empire, the Assyrian Empire, the Sasanian Empire, even though Iran, they continue. The Seleucid Empire, the Khalajites, many of them, they've gone extinct. Iran is still standing.
So ààrẹ Saudi gan kò lè tẹ́lẹ̀ sí àbí pẹ̀lú Iran.
Saudi does not have any army.
Okay, because
Most
that's
of
our
the
next question.
most of the people, Saudi does not have. Let me say, I'm coming. What Saudi Arabia does is to be importing Pakistanis and recruiting them as mercenaries. Saudi does not
Okay.
have any army.
Okay. Because
What
that is
Saudi has,
actually our question.
what Saudi has is money to buy anything. He does not have any army. In the Middle East, the three strongest in the Islamic world, in the Middle East, the three strongest army is Turkey, Israel, and Iran. So you look at many people need our Saudi soldiers, but they are Pakistanis. But they don't allow them to become colonel. They don't allow them to become generals. They don't allow them to become majors. Corporal warfare. That is what but people don't know this. The same thing in UAE. The UAE does not have an army. UAE uses mercenaries from Colombia. They are so rich that they are so lazy that and what the rapport is but the top generals are going to be indigenous people.
Okay. Good work. What's the second question you are trying to ask?
So my second question is, how long can Shangbori?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my second question is, how long can Iran keep the Strait of Hormuz closed, considering that the US has said they are willing to nuke Iran if they don't open that strait?
Nobody's going to use nuclear weapon in 21st century. Nobody. So let's take that off the table. So if Russia did not use nuclear weapon against Ukraine, so why will America go and use it against Iran?
Yeah.
Let's take it off the table. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Are. I think we are 10 minutes above the regular slot. We will need to fix and conclude on the okay. Let me just my chicken is trying to. Okay,
Ààrẹ,
so
mo ṣì ní question, follow up question sí question tó ń béèrè nísìn. You actually said nobody's going to think of using nuclear war, and you think Israel cannot be irrational and go ahead and use nuclear war because fine, we all know they have nuclear heads. Though I mean, till date they didn't say yes to it, they never said no to it. But the world know they have it. So don't you think once partly they are seen as okay, we are losing, and Iran is doing too much to us, they might decide to use nuclear.
Nobody can do that. So
Okay.
there's a nuclear pact. There are 9 countries with nuclear weapon in the world. So the only time people use nuclear weapon, according to at least what we know, nuclear treaties, is is when you want to you use nuclear weapon against them. That's all. So you
okay,
use a nuclear weapon against them, they are going to use it against you. So it's
So
impossible.
If you said you using a nuclear weapon against them, they're going to use it against you. That means
Let
somebody
us
can
take
use it.
let us take let us take nuclear weapon from the table. Nobody uses it.
Hopefully.
Let me tell you something about nuclear weapon. The kind of nuclear, if you use a nuclear weapon in a place now, it will not just affect that place alone. Thousands of kilometers in that place, the weather
Mhm.
will change. There will be climatic change. There will be so much dust. There will be nuclear radiations. There will be so much problems. So the costs of such a thing. Many people get nuclear weapon as a form of nuclear deterrence or
Deterrence.
protection. That is why what the Arab countries told America, if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, we will get our own.
Okay.
Because they cannot allow a Shia power, a Shia Islamic power, without a level of resources to have a nuclear weapon when no single Arab country has a nuclear weapon. The Saudi prince have said it. So they will do anything, they will do everything in their capacity to also get one. So if because people are going to ask me this question. Oh, Shebi, Israel get there. Israel is a European colony in that place.
Yeah.
So stop looking at Israel. Most of the people that created Israel are from Europe. It operates like a European country with a with a Judaistic spirituality. That's all. It's a European enclave. But when we say the Arab Middle East, if you allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon, then you are going to start a nuclear arm race in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia will want its own, Qatar will want its own, UAE will want its own, Egypt will want its own, Libya will want its own, Algeria will want its own, Morocco will want its own. Then we are going to be in trouble.
mo máa rántí gbà ẹ nígbà tí mo wà náà ìjà wọn sọ pé nígbà míì alágídí gan lè ṣọ̀gá alágbára. So
Actually, alágídí lọ̀gá alágbára.
òun
Ẹ mọ̀
lọ̀gá
pé
ẹ̀
alágídí ready láti kú.
okay,
Tálágbára ò bá fẹ́ dáràn anyway. So
okay. So we have really enjoyed the lecture tonight and everybody's contribution and questions that has come from different and our various social media handles. Please, Madam Ajokade, Ibola wa lórí question àtàwọn ta ló borí o.
Actually, we have two answers.
Two answers.
Um, X on X, on X. So
Just two
Tabawo other
answers.
and as well. Yeah, Tabawo other and as well. Yeah,
No,
fine.
no, no. Then that means we people are not responding, and we don't know. Maybe they are sending it to our DM. People are
Probably.
sending answers to the DM. So I think we should just the winners are going to be announced tomorrow. I don't
Okay,
want us to announce it today because so that we can get as many. So the question is
Possible.
because we need as many responses as possible. The question is who created the Achaemenid Persian Empire? That's number one. In what year was Shia Islam adopted as state religion in Iran? So tomorrow, the host and the moderators and the different escorts, they are going to announce on our handle the winners. So America should do so that Elumili send us no DM. So we are
Yeah.
going to the fair, and let me give my final speech before we go tonight. The Middle East is extremely critical in the world. The Middle East, that land, I don't want to say some very terrible words tonight. It is full of blood. It is where the West and the East collide. It is the land bridge. If you are going from Western Europe or you are going to the Far East, great empires, Roman Empire, Greek Empire, Ottoman Empire, Sasanian Empire, Persian Empire, Assyrian Empire, Babylonian Empire, Seljuk Empire, Seleucid Empire, Egyptian Empire, all sorts of empires. They've always been, they've come and gone in that area of the Middle East. So what am I trying to say? For any country to become a superpower, they always try to conquer the Middle East. It's either it is coming from the Middle East and it expands east-west, or it is coming from the east to conquer the west, or it is coming from the west to conquer the east. So what we are witnessing is history, because the Western world, they've been able to bring in, neutralize Turkey. Turkey has been neutralized. Turkey is part of NATO. Turkey has been turned into a European annex in order to keep Turkey within the orbit, because Turkey was a thorn in the flesh of Western Europe for close to 800 years. The Turks, they were a threat to the Roman Empire. Turkey destroy Eastern Roman Empire. So in order to contain Turkey, that's why Turkey is in NATO. It's a containment strategy. Because if you push Turkey out, it will become a nuisance. There's also another place. I mentioned strategic places. There's also another cool place called the Bosphorus Strait. That Bosphorus Strait is just a piece of land, a piece of territory where ships coming from the Black Sea we need to pass through. And it is within Turkey territory. See, Turkey back close, down lonely. Countries like Bulgaria, many countries like Bulgaria, Romania, Georgia, even Russia, Ukraine, Poland, we become landlocked in that area of the Black Sea. So in order to ensure that Turkey is well also tolerated, or not fi jẹ́ kí Turkey wà nínú NATO. So the Middle East is not just a piece of territory. It is where empire rises and empire falls. And as Yoruba man listening to me tonight, your Middle East is Yoruba land. Kò sí nǹkan tó kàn ẹ́. Gbọ̀rọ̀ mi tọrẹ́rù. Don't cry more than the bereaved. Bó ni wọn ò ṣe ní di refugee, wọn ò ṣe ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ní sẹ́yìn tó lọ mọ́ ṣàlẹ̀ jẹ́ ní Àjàṣẹ́ tó lọ dìbò ìrẹ́ tó lọ di refugee láti Àjàṣẹ́. That should be your priority. Who are these extremists in our midst? That should be because the destruction and the destabilization of Sahel did not happen in 1, 2, 3 years. The first thing that happened was we had 8 preachers. That is why what we are doing is extremely critical. Even though we are participating in politics, we are interested, we talk about politics, this is far more important because it is the battle of the mind. Because there is no point hiding it. Yoruba people must be prepared. It's not like, hey, Sunday Igboho, that's not what we're talking about. You must be prepared. There are a lot of terrorist organizations. Al-Qaeda is also operating in Benin Republic now. Full blown. For close to 15 years, Boko Haram, ISIS was not in Benin Republic. But anything that happens in Nigeria, we get to Benin Republic. Anything that happens in Benin Republic, we get to Togo. It's a cancer. It's not going to stop. So, one way or the other, in the next 10, 20 years, leaders that understand what needs to be done will surely emerge. Not just in Yorubaland, across Africa. That we are going to know that we need to expunge these cancers from our midst. And it's a two-way thing. It's either we win or we lose. But you then sympathize with our extremist organization. It's a form of mental madness. It's a matter of madness. For you not to understand that this is destruction that you are sympathizing with. We are not asking you to be pro-America. We are not asking you to be pro-Iran. We are not asking you to be pro-Saudi Arabia. We are not asking you to be pro-Israel. Be pro-Yoruba. Because in a multipolar world, your interest is more important than other people's interests. If you align with anybody, you are aligning because of mutual interest and mutual benefits, not because of emotions, not because, oh, it's my, or not because of you are going to heaven. It is your survival. Wọ́n ní ká tó jọba àkọ́kọ́ jẹ̀bà tó ṣe bí òwe ìbáwá ìgbàlagbà. Before you go to heaven, you first survive on this earth first. Why should anybody be promising you? But don't worry, it is about heaven. Meanwhile, they are living like kings. And one day, one work, sir. So there is when you look at everything, the kind of leaders we have, you are going to know that we are in trouble. But we must be fortified ideologically to know what is going to happen. But the issue of Iran, like I said, the only thing, and I know that's what America is working on, is to make Iran to crumble from within. Somebody should sell out, like they are doing in Libya. Like you have some generals that are now working with Western countries, and they were there. I want to Libya. The same thing they did in Syria. They will create some people. That was what they did for the destruction of the Ottoman Empire. They gave weapons and ammunition. They empowered some local warlords, militias, like the House of Saud to the Saudi Arabia. What about Ottoman Empire? And that's how they created Saudi Arabia. So the same thing, the same method, the same methodology should be currently be deployed. Only one machine on Iran. But they could not do it in Taliban for the Taliban. Because they will sell out. But if we have people that are ready to sell out in Iran, Wọ́n á kàn ṣe kù ní wọ́n á dẹ̀ sọ pé we've normalized things and that's all. But the America understands that it cannot defeat Taliban, it cannot defeat Iran and sustain that asymmetrical warfare. It's impossible. America will run away. Thank you.
So, gbogbo yín tẹ́ ń gbọ́ nílé, a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín pé ẹ wà pẹ̀lú wa ní àṣálẹ́ yìí láti bá a gbádùn ètò tí a mú wá àti ẹ̀kọ́ tí ó ti kọ́ wa. As we close tonight's session, one truth stands out clearly. In global politics, resources alone do not create power. It is strategy that does it. Oil can enrich a nation, but without control, without structure and vision, it can just as easily shaken or weaken it. What we see in the case of Iran is not just about oil reserves, but about how resources are positioned, protected, and leveraged within the global system. For Nigeria and for Yoruba land, the lesson is direct. It is not enough to have, we must understand, we must organize, and we must control. Because in a world driven by energy, economics, and influence, those who fail to think strategically will always operate at the margins of power. The question going forward is simple. Will we remain resource rich and strategy poor, or will we begin to build the structures that convert what we have into real influence? Once again, I thank you all for joining us tonight on the Yoruba Renewal World stage. Nílẹ̀ mìíràn yàtọ̀ sílẹ̀ Yorùbá, ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbé lárugẹ, ẹ jẹ́ ká dáàbò bò ó. Ẹni tí ò bá ní ìsinmi ní orílẹ̀-èdè ẹ̀ kò lè sin ọmọ lọ, kò lè sin Ọlọ́run pẹ̀lú ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀. If you don't have peace of mind in your country, you cannot serve God well. Bí ogun ṣe ń jà ń sìn tó ń lọ́tún lọ́sì, Iran ò wojú anybody mọ́, wọn rántí pé we are brotherhood in Islam. Wọ́n ń fire everybody ni. Everybody
In fact,
fire.
I was about saying that.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́,
We're coming in with that, yeah.
búrẹ́dì kó àlọ́bẹ̀ jẹ́ o, we are brother and kìnìkan, we are brother and kìnìkan. Gbogbo yẹn
Uh-uh.
ò everybody ní good kankan mọ́ at all. If we don't wake up and tell ourselves the truth that we just need to protect our own land, tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ tó ń sìn, kò sẹ́nibọ̀ tó máa ń rẹ́tẹ́ anybody o. Gbogbo brotherhood kìnìkan yẹn bọ́ yẹn ń pa ní Maiduguri, Iran wọn ò rẹ́ anybody wá kán lọ kó oúnjẹ fún wọn, kán lọ kó búrẹ́dì fún wọn. Àwọn tó ń pa ní Kwara, how many Muslim or Islamic bodies tó ń dá organization sílẹ̀ tó ní owó tó ń lọ kó aṣọ fún wọn, tó ń lọ kó búrẹ́dì fún wọn? Kò sí. Ẹ má ká tanra wa. Ẹni tí ò bá ti ní ìfọkànbalẹ̀ kò lè sí Ọlọ́run pẹ̀lú ìfọkànbalẹ̀. If Yoruba land should scatter today, we have no other land to go. When your mothers and fathers are being hunted like animals, like goats or like chickens, you won't have peace of mind anywhere you are in the world. Ẹ má ká anybody tàn wá. Kò tí ì délẹ̀ àyíṣà ìṣòwò tó wá délẹ̀ tó ń sara wa balẹ̀, ojú wa á kanlẹ̀. Then we know that we are just playing with fire. We'll be playing with fire all along. Mahatma Salale kò ní jiyàn lọ. Madam Ajokade, very briefly before we end the space.
In fact, ẹ ti sọ nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, àwọn èèyàn wa, like Baba Bakari said, nílẹ̀ méjì o, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá la ní o. Gbogbo wa náà la rántí ìgbà tí Trump tó láwọn fẹ́ wá save Christian. We know as pé Trump is not coming to save any Christian. Muslim brotherhood ọmọ ìyá nínú Islam, ọmọ ìyá Yorùbá ló yẹ ká kọ́ mú o. Àwa lè fọmọ ìyá Islam ṣe kejì o. Tá bá dẹ̀ tún máa fọmọ ìyá Islam ṣe gan, ọmọ ìyá Islam Yorùbá náà ni. So ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá la ní o, kò pé méjì o. Tó bá kúrò lọ́wọ́ wa, ẹ má jẹ́ kí àwọn unborn generation kan wá gbé wa ṣépè o. Láṣẹ Èdùmàrè, àní rírú ẹ̀, kò ní ṣẹlẹ̀. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, identity wa ó ṣe pàtàkì. So we should please think Yoruba first. It's very important. Nǹkan tá bá really wò lé ní, we could actually say pé Iran, if they are not thinking Iran first, ó ṣeé ṣe kó yẹ kí bóyá this how many days nísìnyí wọ́n lè má ti survive ẹ̀. Ó possible kó yẹ pé that from inside wàhálà máa ti wà, because this is not the first attack. In June, last year, June, July, Yeah, on protest, we all see this, their protest. Despite that, no, kò tíì sí àwọn tó máa dàrú láti inú ilé. Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́ ká rí ogun nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ibi tí Yorùbá wà ní ọjọ́ ìní, if anything like that happened to us, àti inú ilé ni wàhálà ti máa bẹ̀rẹ̀, and it's because pé a ṣe ọ̀kan. So it's very, very important. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣọ̀kan ẹ̀sìn. Kò yẹ kó dá nǹkan kan lẹ̀ bí ó ṣe rí tẹ́lẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká padà síbẹ̀. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, àti Mùsùlùmí, àti Kìrìsìtẹ́nì, àti oníṣẹ̀ṣe, Yorùbá ni gbogbo wa o. Yorùbá ni currency ta ní o. A ní nǹkan míì tá lè fi pera wa lọ́kan. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yìí náà dẹ̀ ni gbogbo wa ni. A nílẹ̀ Mùsùlùmí, a nílẹ̀ Christian. Yorubaland ni gbogbo wa máa ń pè o. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá là ń pè o. Thank you so much. Ẹ ṣé o gbogbo lé. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní dàrú láṣẹ Èdùmàrè o.
Ẹ ṣé gan, ó dàárọ̀.
Thank you so much. Ẹ ṣé o everybody.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a gbé ilẹ̀ wa ga. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a pa ìtàn wa kọ́. Òrìṣà ilé ń wò wá lọ́dọọdún. Àwọn bàbá ń dúró dè wá. Ilẹ̀ tí a jogún kì í ṣe títà. Ìran tí ń bọ̀ wá. Ọmọ Yorùbá jí kúrò nínú òrùn. Àkókò ti dé báyìí. Tí a bá fẹ́ ọjọ́ ọ̀la rere, a gbọ́dọ̀ rántí ara wa. Ilẹ̀ ìsọ̀lọ̀ nínú